Hi class. Today I'm going to read the Brave Little Tailor. This is a Grimm's fairy tale. It's part of the Grimm Storytime collection published by Tormont Publication in 1994. So, the Brave Little Tailor. Um, Once upon a time, a little tailor sat at his workbench when from the street below he had heard a woman's voice calling out, "Jam for sale! Jam for sale!" So the little tailor went to the window, and he called down below, said, "Good woman, I'll buy your jam." And so the woman carried her heavy basket of jams and jellies up the 3 flights of stairs to the tailor's room. Once she was there, she spread the jars out for the tailor to inspect. And inspect he did. He opened each jar and smelled each jam before finally making a decision. And he said, "I'll take 3 spoonfuls of this one." The woman, more than a little disappointed, still measured out the proper amount and went on her way. The tailor took a piece of bread that he had, spread the jam out on it, and set it aside for later, saying, "I'll eat this as soon as I'm finished with the shirt." But before too long, flies had begun to circle around the jam. The tailor called out, said, "Get away from that." The flies, not understanding his language, continued to do what flies do, and so the tailor took a piece of cloth and made a whipping motion at them and said, "Whoopsh." He struck 7 flies down with one blow. He said, "7 with one blow. That's amazing. The whole world should know about this." And so the tailor fashioned himself a belt, and on it read, "7 with one blow." He decided to set out into the world to let everyone know about his amazing achievement. Before he did so, he grabbed an old piece of cheese and he stuck that in his pocket in case he got hungry later. Just outside his door, he saw a small bird and he put that in his pocket too, for no particular reason. And then he set off. Just outside of town, he came across a terrible giant. He said, "Hello there. I'm heading off into the world to find my fortune. Would you care to join me?" The giant took one look at the tailor and scoffed and said, "Ha, I bet you, little crumb." The tailor, quite annoyed, said, "Oh, just look at my belt if you want to see what kind of a man I am." And the giant read the words on the belt, thinking that it meant that he had killed 7 men with one blow. Still, how could such a small little man be so strong? The giant decided to test him. He picked up a nearby rock and squeezed it until the water came out. He said, "If you're so strong, then do that." The tailor pulled the piece of cheese from his pocket and squeezed it until the whey came out. He said, "Oh, it looks like I am strong, aren't I?" The giant, not convinced, threw the rock far into the distance. Waiting for it to land, the tailor replied, "I noticed that yours fell back down to earth." Sneakily taking the bird from his pocket, he threw it, setting it free. Glad to be free, it flew clear out of sight, never touching the ground. And the tailor just said, The giant, now quite bothered himself, said, "Fine, if you're so strong, help me carry this tree." And the tailor replied, "No problem. How about you grab the trunk, and I'll grab the crown, which is no doubt much heavier." So the giant grabbed the end of the tree and started pulling it along, not noticing the tailor riding peacefully in the branches behind him. Before too long, the giant got quite tired, and he collapsed over the trunk, saying, "I need a break." The tailor quickly got down and made to be holding the branch that he had been sitting on. Without a sweat on his brow, he just said, "Fine, if you need a break. It's okay, I suppose we can rest." The giant slumped over the branch and noticed a cherry tree not too far in the distance. He groveled over, leaned against the tree, and bent down to let the tailor grab the cherries from the top of the tree. As the tailor grabbed the hold of the branch, the giant stood up suddenly, flinging the cherry tree up and the tailor with it. The tailor went clean over the tree, and the giant said, "Oh, if you're so strong, why can't you even hold down a little branch?" And the tailor said, "Oh, quite the opposite. I actually jumped over the tree on purpose." you see. See if you can. The giant, not to be outdone, made to jump over the tree, but just at the last moment his foot got caught on the top branch, and he came crashing down to earth with a terrible bang. And just at that moment, the king and his entourage came riding by. "What's this?" cried the king. And the little tailor just calmly responded, "Oh, nothing much. Just this giant that I had captured." The giant had been known to be a terrible nuisance in the kingdom, and so the king decided to reward the tailor with a huge bag of gold. And before too long, word of the tailor's deeds had spread far and wide, and with that the tailor did find both his fame and his fortune, and he lived happily ever after. So, thank you again. This is again, appropriate age story maybe for ages 5 to 8, for a good bedtime story, or possibly paired with other Grimm's fairy tales or other similar fairy tales. And it's good as on its own, or it could be paired with questions to either aid in recollection or sort of help explore the moral themes of the story. I think this is an interesting story because the tailor is not exactly the most likable person in the world, but definitely does succeed using his wits instead of his brawn when challenged, and is able to respond coolly. So this has always been a favorite of mine. Yeah, thank you again. Have a great day.